Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, I'm back. Now for today's video, bro, I'm going over the best and worst badges that you should be putting your max plus 1 / max plus 2s onto your build. Also, I want y'all to know that every single badge in this game is pretty viable to some degree depending on your build and your playstyle. So even if I say you shouldn't max plus 1 or should max plus 1 or max plus 2 a certain badge on your build and it doesn't really fit your playstyle, I mean, obviously that's going to be the reason why. But again, this is my opinion. Obviously y'all can go ahead and take what y'all will from this information, but look, man, let's get into this. Now if you're looking for a specific badge that you want to max plus 2 or you've been thinking about max plus 2ing, don't worry, the timestamps are going to be on this video. Whether it's in the shooting, playmaking, defense, finishing categories, all going to be there, of course. All right, y'all, starting off with the best finishing badge that you should be max plus 1ing / max plus 2ing. First off is Posterizer. All of us know how good Posterizer is. Doesn't matter if you're on a bigger build or taller build, Posterizer is going to be a very good badge that you want to max plus 1 or max plus 2, especially if you're on a shorter build. Duncan's going to be way harder, especially when you're going up against a lot of taller builds. So you want this as high as it could possibly go. The next badge I think is very good in the finishing tier that you should be max plus 1ing or max plus 2ing is your Rise Up. This is very good for bigs. You get a lot of big man contact dunks. The higher your Rise Up, the better your big man contacts is going to be. So obviously this is going to be a very good badge. You want to go ahead and put your max plus 1 or max plus 2 on. Another very good badge in the finishing tier that I would recommend you put a max plus 1 or max plus 2 on is Post Powerhouse. This badge is going to help y'all drop step, back down people way better. It's way better than Post Up Poet in my opinion. If you do a lot of layups, bro, and you're going up for a lot of layups, so you have a high layup build, obviously you want to go from layup mix master as high as it can possibly go. This badge is actually pretty good. I don't really see a lot of people talking about this badge at all because to get in the Hall of Fame, you do need like a 97 drop on it, which is kind of crazy. And for gold, you're going to need like a 93, which is also kind of crazy. And the last very good badge that I would say that you should max plus 1 or max plus 2 or really just max plus 1 is going to be Float Game. Float Game is one of the best badges in this game. Floaters in this game is completely broken. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't really go for the floater type of play style, so they're never really going to be doing floaters. But if you do a lot of floaters, it is pretty much unguardable. Like I see some people doing some crazy stuff with Float Game. Now for the worst badges in the finishing tier, it's pretty much everything else left. Hook Specialist and Paint Prodigy, bro. Obviously, this is going to be completely your playstyle. Like if you're a 7-foot big, then obviously you want to go ahead and max plus 1 or max plus 2 one of these Hook Specialist, Paint Prodigy. That's going to be up to y'all. But again, if you're a small guard or any guards, you don't need to put this on there at all. As for Aerial Wizard, bro, this is another one of those badges that's completely up to playstyle. If you get a lot of lobs and people are throwing you lobs 24/7 and you're a lob threat, then sure, most people are going to have this badge on Hall of Fame anyway. So there's really no reason to max plus 1 this because for Hall of Fame it only requires an 89 dunk. So in my opinion, bro, there's no reason to max plus 1 or max plus 2 this. For the other badge I don't really recommend you putting your max plus 1 or max plus 2 on, it is Physical Finisher. And again, this is a tier 1 badge. Not really going to be the best bang for your buck when you have a lot of other good finishing badges in the game. So hey, that's really not going to be a good badge to go for. And the reason why it's not a good badge is because one, this badge only really activates when you're taking bad takes, and you don't want to take bad takes in the paint, which is not really going to be good at all, like in my opinion. So hey, do not use that badge. Post Fade Phenom is a solid badge to max plus 1 or max plus 2, but if you have this badge on gold or even silver, it's pretty much already overpowered because fades and post fades in this game is already pretty broken. And as for Post Up Poet, it's just a worse version of Post Powerhouse. I don't really recommend y'all max plus 1 or max plus 2 this at all. Now as for the shooting badges, bro, all 5 to 6 shooting badges are very good in this game. There's only one that I think is very bad. Is the worst badge to max plus 1 or max plus 2. But first off, obviously, Set Shot Specialist, bro. This is one of the best shooting badges that you want to max plus 1 or max plus 2. If you do a lot of standstill shots, catch and shoots in the corner, whatever, bro, have your Set Shot Specialist as high as it can possibly go. There's no reason on why you shouldn't. It is one of the best shooting badges in the game. The second badge that I would highly recommend y'all max plus 1 or max plus 2 is Shifty Shooter. It's going to help y'all make a lot of more off dribble shots, which if y'all know, tempo fading is completely broken in this game. You want to have your Shifty Shooter as high as it could possibly go. If you do a lot of snatchbacks or behind the backs into a 3 or a behind the back or snatchback into a midi or whatever it is, you want to have your Shifty Shooter as high as it can possibly go. Now as for Deadeye, bro, obviously, bro, you want to have this badge as high as it can possibly go, but in my opinion, if your build gets it on gold, leave it on gold. If your build gets it on silver, leave it on silver. You don't really have to use a max plus 1 or 2 on this. this. But if you do a lot of catch and shoot shots where, you know, the man in the corner is closing out very late, you want to have this badge as high as it can possibly go, so their defense is basically non-existent. And most of y'all do in fact get this badge on like silver or gold, so I would highly recommend y'all use it on either gold or Hall of Fame. You don't really need to use a max plus 2 on this though. Max plus 1 is all I really recommend. And as for mini marksman, bro, this badge pretty much speaks for itself. You are 6'3", you want to have this badge as high as it can possibly go. I would highly recommend y'all run y'all max plus 1 or max plus 2 on mini marksman over Deadeye. That's just me in my opinion. It works a lot better for the shorter builds, which again, if you're a small guard, the ones that you should be max plus 1 and max plus 2 and it's going to be mini marksman and shifty shooter. Now as for the only badge that I actually think is very bad to max plus 1 or max plus 2 is going to be your limitless range. But if you have this badge in a tier 2, like for example if you're on a 7'4" build or something like that, then this is going to be a very good badge to, you know what I'm saying, max plus 1 or max plus 2. Now as for the playmaking category, the best badge that I highly recommend everyone max plus 1 or max plus 2 is lightning launch. This is easily the best badge in the playmaking tier in my opinion, bro. If you're not using a max plus 1 or max plus 2 on this, you're kind of crazy. And especially if you're like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and you get this badge in the tier 2 category, bro, why are you not max plus 1 in this or max plus 2 in this? You're gonna be moving crazy on the perimeter, speed boost into the paint, bro. It's gonna be crazy. Next badge I think is very, very good to max plus 1 or max plus 2 in the playmaking tier is going to be handles for days, bro. 2K Labs or 2K2, I think it was 2K Labs, so pretty much did a test on this, bro. This badge is very, very good. It lets you dribble for a long time, especially if you have this badge on Legend. So if you are a small guard, you're thinking of max plus 1 or max plus 2ing this, go ahead and do it, bro. It's going to let you dribble for pretty much forever. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. The next two badges are pretty much going to be in the same boat. It's going to be Break Starter and Dimer. If you get this badge as a tier 2 badge, it's going to help your teammates make shots and things of that nature a lot better. And obviously Break Starter is a very good badge that you want to max plus 1 or max plus 2, especially if you're playing center, you know what I'm saying, main center and rec. You want to have this badge as high as it can possibly go. You're going to be throwing a lot of outlets and things of that nature. And for the last badge, this is kind of in between best and worst, versatile visionary, bro. It really depends on play style, bro. If you're main guard, like you just play guard 24/7, you have like 85 plus pass act, that might want to max plus 1 or max plus 2 this, especially if you play higher difficulty game modes like Pro-Am or something like that, then obviously you want to have this as high as it can possibly go. If you're main guard, you're going to be throwing a lot of tight passes. But if you're not playing high difficulty game modes, if you play rec, theater, park, don't max plus 1 or max plus 2 this at all. It's really not that useful. Now, as for the worst badges in the playmaking tier that I recommend no one max plus 1 or max plus 2ing, first one is going to be Ankle Assassin. Now, I know that might sound crazy because ankle breakers are devious in this game, but again, if your build gets this on silver or gold, bro, just leave it on silver or gold. If you're going to max plus 1 anything in the playmaking category that's not like lightning launch, then obviously you want to go with the versatile visionary. Bailout just doesn't really make sense. Why are you taking any bad shots? And obviously if you're main guard, you're going to have an 85 pass act to get this badge on bronze anyway. So in my opinion, don't waste a max plus 1 or max plus 2 on this. Now, as for unpluggable, bro, we all know that on-ball steals are not the best in NBA 2K26, so don't waste your badge perk. And the last badge is strong handle, bro. Depending on how you set up your build in the builder, if you go for a 73 strength, an 85 strength, a 66 strength, or 67 strength, something like that, 65 strength, obviously keep your strong handle like that. But obviously the higher the strong handle you go, Hall of Fame is going to be very, very good. But I don't really recommend y'all use a max plus 1 or max plus 2 on this unless it is a tier 2 badge. If it's not a tier 2 badge, don't waste it. Now, as for your defense badges and the best ones you should max plus 1 or max plus 2, there are 4 badges that are pretty much all in the same tier because they're all just that good of a badge. All 4 of these badges are very good, and those 4 badges are Paint Patroller, On Ball Menace, Interceptor, and High Flying Denier. All 4 of these badges are very, very good. They're all in the same boat. They all work very good to some degree depending on your playstyle. Like for example, with Interceptor, if you play a lot of lanes or if you're trying to get a lot of lane steals, obviously you want to go ahead and max plus 1 this or max plus 2 this, especially if you're on lock. And again, if you're on center, Paint Patroller is a very devious badge. It's going to carry out defense entirely. And again, if you're not on center, or even if you are on center, High Flying Denier for majority of builds in this game is a tier 2 badge, meaning you're going to be able to tier 2 this and get a whole bunch of chase downs and blocks, which block in my opinion is one of the best defensive stats in this game by far, which High Flying Denier and Paint Patroller is very elite badges. And then obviously on ball menace, this is a very devious badge. It's going to keep you in front of your opponent a lot. Like, you're going to be playing sticky defense to them. Like, I'm on a 6'4" with this on Hall of Fame, and I'm basically guarding like a lockdown. I ain't gonna lie, the only problem with it is obviously my contest, but because I'm 6'4", I'm not going to get the best contest. The cutoff is going to be when your opponent is 3 inches taller than you. Now, for the only badge that is kind of in the middle, it's not really the worst badge, and it's not really the best badge that you want to max +1 or max +2. It is going to be pick dodger. Now, obviously, if you're on a lock or a small guard, then obviously you want to have this as high as possible. But again, for most builds in this game, this is a tier 1 badge, which there is so many better tier 1 options that using this as a max +1 or a max +2 in your tier 1 just sounds crazy to me. And again, even if you do max +1 this or max +2 this to legend, that one small split second of a screen, they're going to be able to shoot over you every single time. So in my opinion, bro, it's kind of in the middle. It depends on play style. If you like to play a lot of on-ball defense, then clearly you want to go ahead and max +1 or max +2 this. And if you're on lock, obviously as well. But in my opinion, bro, this is going to be very useless, because when they set a teeny screen, a tiny bit of space, that little millisecond of space, they're going to be able to get off a tempo fade like almost every single time. Now, as for the badges that I highly recommend you not put your max +1 or max +2 on in the defense category, unless it is a tier 2 badge, is going to be off-ball pest, post lockdown, challenger, and glove. Like, if you're trying to max +1 or max +2 any of those badges, you're pretty much wasting your badge points. I don't really recommend it, especially glove. Glove is one of the worst badges in this game defensively, bro. It doesn't really work unless you're timing your steals correctly every single time. Then it will feel like glove is working, but even then you have to be a highly skilled defender for this badge to really work, because bump steals basically don't exist, so you don't really need, you know, glove that high, in my opinion. And as for challenger, if this is not a tier 2 badge, I don't really recommend y'all max +1 or max +2 this on your build. If it is a tier 1 and you are on a small guard, don't do it. It's a waste of a badge point. Depending on build height, the cutoff for height is going to be 3 inches. So if you're 6'4", anyone 6'7" and up is going to basically be shooting over you like at a way higher rate than people their own height. So in my opinion, bro, the challenge is going to be a waste, especially if you're on a small guard. But if you're on a taller guard, like if you're on like a way taller guard, 6'8", 6'9", 6'7", then obviously it's going to be way better for y'all, of course. As for off-ball pass, I don't really recommend you max +1 or max +2 this at all. Like, if your build gets it on gold, leave it on gold. Silver, leave it on silver. Hoff, you know what I'm saying, so on and so on. It's a very good badge, don't get me wrong, but again, there's so many other good tier 2 badges in this game, to the point where you don't really need to waste a tier 2 badge on this. It just doesn't make any sense. As for a movable, this is another one of those badges where I've used this badge on legend, Hoff, gold, all the levels, bro. It doesn't basically do anything. Like, I don't really see much this badge even does. If your build gets it on gold, leave it on gold. Silver, leave it on silver. You don't really need this badge on Hall of Fame or legend. Don't max +2 it, you know what I'm saying, or max +1 it. It's still kind of a waste in my opinion. And lastly, post lockdown, bro, this badge is, in my opinion, not really that useful to max +1 or max +2. On majority of builds, it is a tier 1 badge. This is a waste of a badge to max +1 or max +2. The majority of centers on this game are shooting centers. Shooting centers rule this 2K. And even if you're guarding a inside center, which those are kind of rare to come across in this game nowadays, you're really not going to need this badge that high anyway. So if you get it on silver, leave it on silver. If you get on gold, leave it on gold. Whatever your build gets it on, leave it there. Don't max +1, don't max +2. And as for the only rebounding badges in this game, Box Out Beast and Rebound Chaser, obviously you want to max +1 or max +2 these, bro. You don't want to not max +1 or max +2 these, bro. Like, these are very good badges. Like, the better you can get it, the better your rebounding is going to be. The better your box out, better rebound chaser, the better it's going to be, of course. Now, as for the physical badges, bro, I don't really recommend y'all max +1 or max +2 slippery off ball unless you do a lot of dexing and, you know, and your teammate probably does L2 cheesing for you, bro. I don't really recommend y'all max +1 or max +2 your slippery off ball. And even if you do, I would only recommend y'all do a max +1, because legend is kind of overkill. Most of y'all get it on gold, so hey, anything higher than that is kind of extra. As for brick wall, if you set a lot of screens, you're a 7'4", 7'3", or if you're a big or 6'9", big, 6'10", 6'11", whatever, brick wall is a pretty good badge. But since most builds, this is a tier 1 badge, I don't really recommend y'all put y'all Max Plus 1 or Max Plus 2 on this at all. It's kind of one of the worst badges to Max Plus 1 or Max Plus 2. And lastly, which I think is a very bad badge to Max Plus 1 or Max Plus 2, is Pogo Stick, because depending on however you upgrade your build, you're already going to have this on Hall of Fame. And since this is a tier 1 badge, bro, this is really not going to be that useful to Max Plus 1 or Max Plus 2 in my opinion. So just go ahead and skip over this badge entirely. But look, man, that is my breakdown for the best and worst badges to use your Max Plus 1 or Max Plus 2 on NBA 2K26, bro. If y'all did in fact enjoy this video, bro, go ahead and drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. But with all that being said, man, I'm out this joint. Peace.